Welcome everyone to second part of chapter cell. In the last video, we discussed about different sizes and shapes of cell. Then we also discussed that there are three important components of the cell, which are cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. Today we are going to continue with the same topics, but we'll study in detail about these three components of a cell. The first component is cell membrane. As you all know, children, cell membrane is the outermost boundary of any cell. This cell membrane is present in all the cells. It gives shape to the cell. Being outermost covering, it provides protection to all the internal parts of the cell. It helps in exchange of materials as it is porous. It allows the materials to move in and out of the cell, so thus helping the cell to exchange materials from its surroundings. Due to presence of cell membrane, the cells are separated from each other. So it is helping to separate the cell content from each other. Now in plant cells, there is one additional covering found, which is called as cell wall. Cell membrane is present in all the cells, but this cell wall is present only in plant cells. So we can say that the outermost boundary of animal cell is cell membrane, but outermost boundary or the covering in plant cell is cell wall, which is made up of cellulose. This cell wall is comparatively thicker and rigid. It is more rigid than the cell membrane. It gives shape to the cell. It also provides protection to all the internal parts, and it prevents drying of the cell. This cell wall too allows the materials to move in and out. Next important part of the cell is nucleus. Nucleus itself is having different components, which are the nuclear envelope, the nuclear pore, nucleoplasm, chromatin and nucleolus. The nuclear envelope is the outermost boundary or the covering of the nucleus. Nucleoplasm, and this nuclear envelope is having pores, having small pores in between, which are called as nuclear pores. The nucleoplasm is the fluid interior portion. Nucleus is filled with the fluid part, which is known as nucleoplasm. Then here two important parts present are, one is nucleolus, which is a dense cluster of RNA and proteins. Now this RNA stands for ribonucleic acid. Another material present in nucleus is chromatin. Chromatin is consisting of all DNA and proteins. Here DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. So the nucleus is a highly specialized organelle that serves as the information and administrative center of the cell. This part has two major functions. It stores the cell's hereditary material or DNA, and it coordinates the cell's activities, which include intermediary metabolism, growth, protein synthesis and reproduction. So we can conclude that the important functions of nucleus are controlling all the cellular functions. Hence, nucleus is also called as control center of the cell. It controls the synthesis of structural proteins in the cell. It contains genetic information for reproduction, development and behavior. The DNA present in the nucleus is carrying all the information for hereditary characters, which are transferred from parents to next generation. So hence, nucleus is very important part of the cell. Depending upon the type of the nucleus present, there are two types of organisms called as prokaryotes and eukaryotes. As you can see here, this particular figure, this is a picture of a bacteria. Here, this part is the nucleus of the bacteria. As you can see, there is no outer boundary of the nucleus. That means here the nuclear membrane or the nuclear envelope is absent. And any of the organisms lacking a distinct membrane bound nucleus are called as prokaryotes. So prokaryotes are those organisms in which the nucleus is not bound by any nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. And eukaryotes are those organisms whose cell contain a distinct membrane bound nucleus. As you can see here, this is the nucleus where clearly nuclear membrane is present. So eukaryotes have nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope surrounding their nucleus. This is the main difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So examples of prokaryotes are bacteria and blue-green algae, whereas eukaryotes are all the higher organisms like plant cells, animal cells. We all are eukaryotes because we have a membrane-bound nucleus. Now the third component of the cell is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a fluid present in the cell. It is present from the nuclear envelope to the cell membrane surrounding the organelles. And the function of the cytoplasm is a clear jelly-like fluid which holds the organelles in place.